we're going to be talking about, this is a tale of two different leaders. I'll read this short write-up, not too long. It's a tale of two different leaders who probably have the same capacity in achievement, academic achievement, but an academic and economic achievement, but have two different dispositions on how to actually handle these two successes. Now, we have two governors, same region, impressive credentials, opposite decisions. That is the head of this short piece. Two governors, same region, impressive credentials, opposite decisions. Now, he said one governor, a former managing director, CEO of one of the Nigeria's top 5 banks, decided to convert the newly built government house, constructed by his immediate predecessor, into a hotel. Why? He deemed it too luxurious and costly to maintain. With his background in banking, he understands costs, value, and responsible spending. The other governor, a professor of finance and a former governor of the central bank, made it a priority to build a brand new extravagant government house and even held a lavish commissioning ceremony to unveil it. Both leaders have stellar academic and professional credentials, but understand finance, cost, and expenditure. Both understand finance, cost, and expenditure. Yet, when faced with the same issue, they made completely different choices. This is why educational qualification should not be the sole basis for selecting leaders. Not all impressive credentials translate to good governance. Barrister, we're talking about Governor Otti. I don't know why the writer didn't even mention the governor's name here. This is the story where what I just read now has to do with Governor Otti, current governor of Abia State, and Governor Charles Soludo of Anambra State. Charles Soludo, I've known Charles Soludo right from when he was the CBN governor. He has been like that. He's an extravagant person. Honestly, I've met so many economists. Most economists are misers. Most economists, they are very prudent in spending. Charles Soludo is an opposite of that of what the profession he actually personifies. Honestly, even as the CBN governor, everybody, I remember suppliers there. I was a supplier them to the CBN when he was a governor. That guy was we supplied some of the things if you see where this guy is eating, if you see where the kind of food, the man eats the food, he doesn't eat like a rich man. No. He really eats like a local man with food full loaded with a whole lot of things. He will eat and eat. And the man is so extravagant when it's come. That man does not behave like economist. Now he has taken such kind of bad traits to the government house of Anambra State. You can imagine, you compare him to Peter Obi, his predecessor. This is a complete 180-degree turn from what Peter Obi actually is or was as a governor. This man is just there. I don't know what is that. Even the Anambrians are just so disappointed in him. Now, juxtapose it with Abia. Abia, say, look at what Abia, the governor Otti, who just came in, has been doing just barely 2 years now. But I think, yes, barely 2 years. The man is performing incredibly well. He's doing the right things, putting square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes. Fixing the country, fixing the state that people like Oji Kalu bastardized, and his other predecessors, and compare it to what's his name, Charles Soludo. That man is just unbelievable. Barrister, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, this is a very classic case, and of what I have been saying for a very long time. We often, and it is particularly in third world countries. I saw it in Nigeria, particularly during the military regime. They have a problem and they think a professor in the university who can solve the problem because he's a professor. He has academic qualifications and this. And then he's brought in and he messes up the place big time. And I have argued, I've seen this in practice. I've argued severally that governance is simply a management of men and materials. Men, materials, and resources. Nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You do not need an academic professorship to do that. Why there is need for a basic or a minimum educational qualification to equip you? The real ability is not in that certificate.
It's not. Yeah, absolutely.
It's in your understanding. It's in your understanding of the issues and your ability to profile solutions and put it into manage the men, the resources, and the materials at your behest to ensure that solution comes to fruition. Now, how this man, Soludo, has been a singular failure. He came, and there was a lot of, it was almost like he would become governor of Anambra State unchallenged, professor of economics, former governor of Central Bank. In fact, people were being told in Anambra that how can you challenge this is an illustrious person that is coming to turn Anambra into something else? How do you even want to challenge him? And the expectation was there everywhere, even we that are not from that state. We said this man will go in and do a lot of good. But he has been quiet, there has been unnoticed, there is nothing tangible going on. He has been a signal failure. It's unfortunate. These are people, he is one of the people who was tortured from the Southeast, that if the presidency should go
as a shining light, of course.
One of those shining lights from the Southeast that would emerge as president. And the governorship was to prepare him, was to give him a platform where he can showcase his ability that will catapult him into the presidency. He has failed terribly, terribly, and disappointed a lot of us.
Honestly.
Now, how can somebody come to a poor agrarian state, whether agrarian or otherwise, and taught the building of a government house as an achievement?
Honestly.
Before you came, there were governors there for decades. They were sleeping, and even in those places they were sleeping, it was luxurious. I can tell you that. Then you come, and in the face of abject poverty, let me put it, in the face of abject poverty, your priority is an ultra-modern government house. Rather than addressing the suffering of the people, creating more hospitals, more schools, bringing industries to bring people jobs, good-paying jobs. Your priority is building magnificent government house and commissioning it. It's a terrible disappointment.
Honestly.
He, Soludo, has disappointed a lot of us. And in contrast to Otti, who came on the distant platform of labor, how do you look at it? How do you expect the people to compare? Everybody will say this man has more sense.
Of course.
This man is actually the person looking out for the people of his state, which is his actual mandate. Your mandate is to elevate your people, to bring them out of poverty, to raise their standards of living. And you do not do that by building a government house where 99.9% of the citizens cannot even, in all the 8 years you will be there, will not even enter. How many number of people will have the opportunity to enter the government house?
Honestly.
Just himself, his cabinet members, and his rich and powerful friends. Those are the people that will go there. The rest of the Anambra people, they will not have the opportunity to do that. So it's a sorry state. We continually miss our priorities, continually. And one of the things that is negating our development is we are not having a development master plan to cover 10, 20 years that every government must build upon.
Yeah, to continue.
So that we are going from one development project to another. If we can have an opinion in the state, bring all the people together, let's list the kind of things that the state needs in terms of development and have a master plan that every government that comes will key into it. That will help. Rather than today, this government come, he abandon what the other governor has started doing, start doing his own. It negates the whole concept of development. This is one of the things that is holding us down. And I think at the last show when we mentioned power project, I gave example of how Obasanjo gave contract for 13 power projects, only for Yaradua to come and cancel the whole project with the loss of money, loss of everything, and the power situation remaining the same or even worse.
Even worse.
So time has come where both at the national level and at the state level, we have a master plan covering decades, covering many years. Okay, you can draw up the roads that need to be constructed in the state, the dams that need to be constructed, the schools, the hospitals, draw it up in a master plan and start doing it one by one. Every governor that comes
should continue
that and continues from there. So we know by social time we have developed to a certain level.
Of course, they will not do that.
Not what's on ground.
Yeah, because of course they will not do that because every governor that comes in, they want to amass personal wealth because they know if they continue with their predecessors, they won't make money. So what they do is they award new contracts, or sometimes they even cancel the existing one and start everything all over again, so that there will be room for them for corruption. There will be room for them to amass wealth. There will be room for them to have kickbacks. Because they know if they continue, that means the existing contractors, they have already signed the deal with their predecessor, so they will not have anything to gain there. That's why that is just the reason, nothing else. Otherwise, every patriotic governor or president should be able to continue from his or her predecessor's achievements. But they won't, for personal and selfish reasons, sort of. So, and that is just, anyway, you just like you noted, in fact, this is something I've always said for a very, very long time. I've never seen education or academic qualification as a yardstick for a successful leadership. I have always said so. People should take the local Igbo men, businessmen, some of them who are not, they didn't even attend primary school. You just said it all. Leadership or governance is about the management of resources, people, and materials. That is just it. All you need, you don't need academic qualification for you to know, for you to add 1 and 1 to make it 2, for you to do some common thing. So for you to, that's why I always tell people something. Economics, you don't have to be a professor for you to be a good economist. That's just the truth. Common Igbo man is a very good, go to the market, meet all these Igbo men, they are very good economists. Because economics is just, is tangibility. It's not like science. Economics is not like science. That's why I don't even know why they call it social science. I think I understand why they call it social science. But it's supposed to be artistic, because art is just something that makes sense. Science is something sometimes can be mysterious. But art is something that it makes sense. Just add 1 and 1 together, it gives you 2. That is economics for you. Economics is just something that it's a common sense thing, and that's why anybody that is enterprising in nature, just like the Igbos, they succeed in business. So these people, because business, how do you succeed in business? If any successful businessman will succeed as a political leader. Why? Because you as a businessman, it is the same thing. It is the same yardstick. Management of human beings, material, and resources. Just like governance. It is just the same thing. So if you are successful as a businessman, you can be successful as well as a president or a governor. So honestly, this education of it, I think this issue of the minimum, that is why in our constitution, the minimum qualification is, even in the USF, the minimum, you don't have to be a degree holder or whatever for you to be, because everybody knows it. Academics has nothing to do with success in business or in governance. Honestly, that is why the minimum qualification is not basically, it's not for anything other than, honestly, it's not for managerial purpose. Honestly, the requirement for the minimum requirement for school SAT, not school SAT, school living certificate, I think that is it. That is primary 6. As the minimum qualification. That is for someone to, at least for a leader, to know how to read and to write and to at least speak English. And that is the national language, depending on the country. So I don't see any reason, honestly. You just said it all. Look at Soludo, a professor. People, I remember during Obasanjo regime, they saw, you see, they equated him with Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Obieze. These were the three of them. Then were the beacon of hope from the East. We saw them, especially these three people, especially Soludo, as someone who had the potential of becoming Nigeria's president, Igbo from Igbo extraction. But here we are today, just like you said, he is a total failure. He has become a total failure and disappointment to those people who actually saw him, especially people, the Anambarians, who voted for him because of his academic credentials. I hope by now they have learned their lesson not to even look up to that next time. Barrister.
Just follow. Always said, and I continue to say it. If I'm in position of authority and I need somebody, for instance, we are talking of agriculture and its value chain, the most important thing that we end up benefiting the farmer is the marketing of the farm produce. That's the end of it. But it is the most important, because if the farmers are not do not end up getting a reasonable income from their farming, one, they will not be encouraged, and the farming activities will go down. If I'm in position of authority and I'm talking about the marketing angle of farming, I will not go and bring professor of marketing. I will not go and bring professor of agriculture. I will bring the people who have been in marketing for the past 40 years. I will give one of my clients here has been dealing with grains for the past 40 years. He has been to the villages. He buys the grains from there and brings it. Today he supplies grains to breweries all over Nigeria. He is a multi-billionaire. If you come with any matter involving grains, purchase of grains, the price, the movement, the time the price will go down, the time the price will go up, I don't think any professor of economics, of marketing, of agriculture in the world will know more than the man. Something that he has been doing for over 40 years. That is the kind of person I will bring to anchor that.
Yes, not academics.
With not just experience, successful experience.
Yeah.
He knows when to buy, when not to buy. He knows where to get it and at what price. And how to keep, how to store it. That's the kind of person you should bring and put in charge. But in Nigeria, that is not what we do. We go and bring professor of agric, somebody who has never gone to the market even in one day. He is there haranguing students in the students who cannot respond to him because they also know better. You go and bring him and call him.
I always experience this at the site here in my environment. You see students at my site. Sometimes you see some students who graduated and came in with a whole lot of certificate, masters in construction, masters in civil engineering, masters in structural engineering. They come to the site and they whatever. You need to see the way 4 men on the site. 4 men at the site, they embarrass them. They know nothing. Because you see, I keep telling people something. You just can't leave the classroom because you are a professor. And meet me on the field and begin to tell me experience matters a lot, because sometimes, if not even most times, what we learned back in the school, if you go to the field, they are different. Sometimes there is a complete move away from the theoretical angle of what we learn. In theory, it's just for you to have a preamble of what to expect. And so you go to the site and meet someone who has been a foreman in that profession for probably all his life, 30, 40 years. And you think you as a graduate, you're a professor in that field, an academician. You come and you want to talk, even in law, for God's sake. Even you as a lawyer, a barrister. We have so many professors, like the lecturers.
I was going to tell you that I started becoming enlightened from my own profession, because I have been in the field.
Yes.
I go to court, I file pleadings. Now, when our colleagues who are professors of law venture into practice, they make a total mess of it.
Of course.
We have seen again and again. That is where I began to see that academic qualifications are different.
Different. That's what I keep telling people this. I've been saying this for years.
Number one, you are there haranguing students who don't know anything. They cannot challenge you back. Then you come into the field where everybody can challenge whatever you say. You turn this way, you have a credible challenge. You turn here. That is where the thing is actually happening. And if I have the opportunity, I will bring those people who are in the field over time with experience. The people who can credibly undertake any business. And it's everything you do, even in business, experience matters. So those are the people
you is your profession. You have been a lawyer, a practicing lawyer. When I say practice, an active lawyer for over 40 years. And you want to tell me that one professor in any of these universities will match you? It's not possible.
Like I said, we have seen them come. Some of them come to start practice, and it is a total mess. They mess themselves up for years. They are not able to get the hang of writing, pleading, and what it goes into it. And arguing cases in court is a whole different ballgame. So if people that have power should understand this dynamics, it will help us.
Yeah,
it will help us.
It is.
A lot
it will
in our development strides.
All right. Thank you so much for that.